Welcome everybody to this last round of a 12-round Formula 1 league with RWB International. This last one, Draco, week 12. Crikey, I'm listening to myself. What's going on there? Oh, it's because I'm got YouTube open. Last round, Draco, and we're at Suzuka.
Couldn't think of a more suitable end for a series. This will test their mettle. Varying track surfaces, varying corners, elevation changes, heck, even an overpass. Yeah, we've saved the best for last year, buddy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, mate. It's you know, it's one of them circuits, isn't it? It's widely revered, you know, by the Formula 1 community as the best circuit. It's got some great pedigree. We'll talk more about that later. But for these guys, the last of the rounds. I mean, it gives you some a tiny inkling of in real life. You know what, 21, 22 rounds they do. You know, we've done 12 rounds. We've got 13 cars out there tonight, but it's a hell of a commitment, and it's bloody difficult to get out there and, you know, have essentially what is, you know, over 2 hours worth of racing, an hour and a half racing. You've got qualifying, practice beforehand. It's a long time.
Well, and you also have to consider that these guys are putting in a lot of practice during the course of the week. They're working on their setups. They're checking their stats. I mean, this is definitely not for the faint of heart. Like you said, too, this has been a 12-week commitment. It's a long time. It's kind of like a 3-month project that, you know, these guys have definitely gone ahead and donated their free time with. You know, it's a hobby and, you know, they love it, but that's still a heck of a commitment.
Yeah, absolutely is. And, you know, something that I've learned a great deal from. I mean, I like watching, I like commentating, I like spending time with you and the rest of the lads and stuff. But something that I've taken out of these 12 weeks is that continuity is key. That you don't have to be the fastest out there. You just have to stay on that grey stuff. Clearly, if you're fast and stay on the grey stuff, well, that's your advantage. But you only need to come off once and it's game over. This is full damage out there. You know, they've got a pit stop as well. Be interesting to see what they do with their tyres and fuel. I think they'll carry full fuel. But what I've learnt out of it is that continuity is king, and that you've got to stay on the track in the first place. And I say that personally because obviously I'm doing the Porsche Cup where qualifying, you know, I'm in the top half. I haven't got a problem qualifying. I haven't got a problem putting in fast times. But staying on the track for longer than 20 minutes, more often than not, I'll end up coming off.
Yeah, and these guys are doing it for 80 minutes. Mike, I tip my hats off to them. I did a recent test run on a GT2. I did a 60-minute stint in a Cadillac, and man, that is tough. And these guys are doing it for 20 more minutes. Whew. Much props to these guys. That's definitely not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, interesting. Undoubtedly, we'll revisit this during the race. But let's have a recap. We got 11 minutes left of qualifying. We're currently watching Rodders, who, of course, you know, right now in the league is second, and he essentially is in stalemate. He can't actually win this championship. You know, providing this man, Rigel, stays on the track and finishes, you know, he's essentially going to win this championship.
In all cases, as much as this sounds like a cliche, the series is right now Rigel's to lose in this race.
Well, that's a very pertinent point. It is his to lose, and if Rigel does come off the track, if he does stack the car, which, let's face it, is unlikely, but it could happen. It is a variable. And Rodders finishes the race and, of course, qualifies first, which, of course, he is at the minute, and gets as maximum points that he can. There's a possibility that he could tie with first place. But it's a slim chance. We're talking about the chief track master here. We're talking about Rigel, who's exceptionally quick, wholly continuous out there. It's great continuity, very quick, and unlikely that that's going to happen. But that's not going to stop, of course, that man there from giving 1,000%. to give it a go. We'll revisit this on the score side of things later on. It's quite complex, but essentially that's what we're looking at.
And it's something to be said too. There's certainly nothing wrong with second or third place either. I mean, this is, like mentioned before, it's a long commitment. 12 races and a place in the top 3 is still definitely nothing to sneeze at. And all of these guys, Rodders, Rigel, Hacks, and a few others here have really kind of put the pedal to the metal and just shown us, what some pride, some determination, and some stick-to-itness will do. Especially with Rodders last week, he fell off the track, broke his nose, came back and literally clawed his way back. I mean, if that doesn't describe kind of the grit that you're dealing with some of these racers right now, I don't know what does.
Yeah, but absolutely right. And talking of grit, look at that. FX has just qualified first with a 1:26.688. He's basically turned around to Rigel and said, go away and come back next week. You need more practice. More practice required, Rigel and Rodders, as FX has maybe that Thursday winning that race has gone to his head.
I don't know about gone to his head, but it's definitely, it might be playing a little part in that.
Well,
as we take a look at Gandalf's stats there.
No, I'm not taking anything away from him at all. I mean, I'm willing to bet he's put some time in this week. The reason why I put it up there, it says usual position, middle of the road. But Thursday he won a race there. He's just qualified in the top position so far. There's 7 minutes 45 seconds left. It's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not this normal place that you'd see FX up there. Of course, it's not over until it's over, and of course, Rodders and Rigel will put in some quick times. I know that. But then saying that, look at H Juniors up there as well. Al Gartner has qualified 6th. Now, it may well be that Rodders and Rigel actually, will leave it to the last sort of 5 minutes before putting in a qualifying time, and maybe they're out there just in race pace.
Could be too, also to get a feel of the track too. Like I had mentioned a little bit earlier, this is not your typical F1 track. This is definitely some varying surfaces, elevation changes, with the exception of last week's race with the elevation changes. They haven't really had a whole lot of that. But I mean, you're talking about the spoon curve, which is, deadly. If you misjudge that turn, even into the entrance, you're in a lot of trouble. This is a very technical track. And I do remember FX actually kind of, nudging me a little bit with the elbow and saying, yeah, I'm going to be putting in a little extra time on this one. And it looks like it's paying off so far.
Well, good for him is what I say. Draco, 6 minutes, 25 seconds left to qualify. And let's just remind our, not necessarily our viewers, but let's remind everyone who's watching this, who's going to watch the stream after the race or during the week, excuse me, we are at Suzuka. Let's talk about Suzuka. Well, Suzuka is in Japan, near obviously Suzuka City. It's a GP circuit, this 3.6 miles, 5.8 kilometers, 17 corners around here, 9 right, 8 left, 1 chicane, which is known as the Casio Triangle, just towards the last curve, towards going down the start-finish straight. 1 hairpin, which is called hairpin. What else we got? We've got 1 underpass, like you mentioned earlier on, which is just past the Degner corner. We've got fast sweepers out there. You mentioned about the spoon curve, which is a double apex, very long bend. Likewise with the Dunlop corner, which is a very, very long bend, almost like a extended 90-degree corner, which comes out from the bank curves all the way down into Denga. It's undulating, like you mentioned. There are some ups and downs in it, especially when you're coming down the back stretch. That's quite a downhill there before flattening out, coming in towards the 130 right. It's got fast sweepers. And it's basically a figure of 8 format. And for those of you who've ever had a scale extric, guess what? The first one that came out was a figure of 8, and it was based upon Suzuka. 12 named locations around here, thank God, because we hate the circuits that, well, we don't hate, but circuits with T1 to T22 doesn't do anything for anybody. So we're able to we're able to anthropomorphize this circuit by naming these corners with some good old-fashioned names, manly names, female-y names, whatever. But we're able to give this beautiful circuit, we're able to give her some names. Now, this circuit is one of the infamous John Hugenholz's lineup of circuits. He helped design Zandvoort and many others. And it's the #1 circuit in Japan, challenged by Twin Ring. I always say Twin Ring Motegi, but some people say it's Motegi, which is the home of Honda, of course, and Fuji. But it holds its own amongst racing drivers as one of the most loved Formula One circuits there is out there.
This one is definitely going to go ahead and be very interesting as well in the way of tire wear. There is a lot of considerations right now with these turns. Some of the courses that these guys have had the pleasure of driving earlier on in the series have been a little bit more forgiving in tire wear. I do not believe this is the case today. We will definitely need to see a lot of strategies when it comes to your tire changes or tire types. And how that places them accordingly. I know for a fact, after trying this course, that on medium tires, now I am not as good as these guys, but I was doing roughly about 15 laps before I start hitting the under 50% mark, and the ride was definitely getting a little sloppy. I'm curious to see how these guys are going to go ahead and navigate this.
Yeah, very interesting with the tires, and interesting that you mentioned about the tires. This circuit has every type of corner. It's got your S's, it's got your half parabolicas, it's got your tight 90 rights, tight 90-degree corners. It's got your long straights, it's got your undulation, it's got your fast sweepers. This is a tire eater. If you think you're going to do 30 laps on soft tyres around here, you're not. It's not going to happen. So I think your call on lap 15 to lap sort of 18 at the most is probably around about right. But it would be interesting to see. We'll keep a close eye on the timings. I haven't put any time in here during the week, but glad you have. So we'll bow to your better knowledge when it comes to the tyre side of things. I think that's all we need to say about Suzuka. It pretty much went live in 1960 with motorcycles, and let's remind ourselves of a couple of things this weekend, shall we? First of all, Ernst Degner, who was killed. Actually, was a German defector who went to Japan. He actually wasn't killed. He was seriously injured and burnt before the underpass at Denga Corner. So the Japanese in honour named that after him. And of course, it's Remembrance Sunday this weekend. So if you're a veteran, then have a good day tomorrow. And if you're not, well, put a poppy on and go. For me, this is a remembrance race right at the very end of what has been a fantastic series, isn't it?
This has been, it's been an amazing run with these guys. The wealth and the dearth of the actual tracks that we've had at the series, it has been varied. It has been, extremely varying. That not a lot like this. This is literally the crown jewel of them all. Well, look at Justin Madley. He just turned in a 126.599. He just edged out Rodders.
Now, talking of times, you can see him up there, guys. 126.599. Madley's just put in there, all the way down to Charger on a 132. If you look at the top, the top five, H-Tune, what a great time that H-Tune has put in there. That's absolutely fantastic news for him, qualifying in 5th. 30 seconds left to go qualifying. Fair to assess he'll probably maintain that up there, which is great news, isn't it? Crikey, what a mixed bag up at the top. I say mixed bag, not really that mixed, but FX up there in 3rd place. Madley just pipped Rodders there in 1st. We've got Rodders, FX, Rigel, H-Tune, Dave Crew, Rigel's team buddy up there in 6th. Mark Bean in 7th. Al Gartner in 8th. Do stick around, Al, afterwards. We've got post-race interviews and commentary chats afterwards. Going to do it slightly different. I'll mention that in a minute, Draco. But that's a great lineup, isn't it? Cos down where we would expect him to be with respect to Cos. Pinto, not usual to see Pinto down there. I say down there on a 128. I could probably go around this track on the Bullet, the Japanese Bullet, and not do it in 128.
Yeah, you know, we've got a different perspective on these things. We see it from up high. Those guys see it from within the seat. You know, and it looks easy to us, but make no bones about it. This does take a fair amount of skill to navigate through here. And kudos to these guys for just making it look easy, seriously.
Yeah, so let me use Mark Bean. Let's take us around the track for our viewers and for everyone else later on. So just coming down the fast straight now, into the first corner, which is, guess what, known as fast corner. Come on, Mark, keep it on the old Mr. Bean. Now we're going through a set of S's, which can disorientate some people. To 9 o'clock there, we just see the Ferris wheel. Going around the, just towards the end of the S's now, into the Dunlop corner, Dunlop bend, you know, very long and elongated, into what is essentially a bit of a kink to the right, and then down into Denga corner, underneath the underpass that you mentioned earlier on. And now we're going up a slight incline now into the hairpin. Keeping it tight on here, a nice extension away, and this right-hander really does sweep out all the way, catches you out into the spoon curve, double apex. In we go into the spoon curve, just exiting out now, into the first apex, and there's the second apex. Just missed it, Mr. B. Oh, that's it. Keep going, mate, keep going. Keep your head when all those there's down the hill, slight incline through the old start finish and the back straight, sometimes used for GT series, and then into the 130 right, which is actually into the left. Don't ask me why that's the case, I don't know, but they can take that flat into the Casio triangle before the last right-hander, known as the last curve, and then extends down the hill along the start finish straight.
And that is your look from the driver's seat there. That's the heck of a run.
Whew. So 2 minutes 30 odd seconds left of warm up, and then let's remind everyone we've got an 80, or is it 90? I always get it mixed up. I think it's 80 or 90 minutes. We'll see it in a minute.
80 minutes.
80 minutes. 80-minute race. In that time, they've got to do a pit stop. They can put fuel in if they like, but it's unlikely that they will fuel up. Although saying that, you know, never say never. They've got to change their tyres. Damage is on. Full flag rules. So you know, they only have to have a slight knock, and they're going to really have to nurse it around. We saw a great example of nursing it around and putting things right as best you can last week with Rodders, when he had that awful crash and you know, tiptoed his way around, didn't he? Went into the pits, repaired his car, and then spent the rest of the race doing damage mitigation and climbed his way up to 7th position. A fantastic race of grit from him, and a great example to the rest of us of just not giving in. Now, that's notwithstanding the fact that he's probably, you know, without doubt one of the top 3 fastest people in RWB out there. But you know, I'll be the first to put my hand up and say there's been many times I've rage quitted and said, nope, that's it, nope, game over for me. But no, he didn't. So fair play, great example, and one of the reasons why my appalling effort, Draco, on last Sunday's Porsche, why I kept on going. I qualified great. Qualified great on the race. The second race, I was at the front because the first race I was so bad. I came last, so I was first on the first race. And just the pressure of these guys behind you, and not having the continuity because I just haven't got the hours in the seat. And guess what? It was just a bloody disaster.
This is not easy. You know, and like I mentioned before, these guys make it look easy, but yeah, make no bones about it. This definitely takes some time. It takes some practice, and it takes a lot of control, hand-eye coordination, foot, hand-eye coordination, all that. Definitely not as easy as it looks.
No. 14 runners out there tonight, so looking forward to this race. It's going to be really great. And then we've got a couple of weeks gap, and then I believe on the 23rd of November the GTE, or is it GT2, one of the two, I think it's GT2, I think the GT2 League starts. We've also got the Porsche League, the third race being at Zolder on tomorrow, which is a sort of semi-closed league in that, you know, RWB members know about it, and anyone who comes onto RWB Discord knows that it's on and there's no password for the server. So guess what? Come along. But be warned, if you drive like an arse, you're going to get banned instantly, forever. So do come along and enjoy what we put on. But you know, racecraft is everything. As they're now forming up on the start-finish straight, Draco. I'm so looking forward to this. It's going to be great.
This is going to be an interesting start. You know, we talked about last week where it was kind of a plain start out to the field. This is not the case here. There is a short straightaway and a quick right. So we're going to see, you know, just who wants it the most and who's willing to hang back and keep it safe.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, the red lights are on. We've got Dave Crew, who pipped them all at the last minute there. Look at that. Dave Crew in first place, Madley in second, Rodders in third, FX in fourth, and they're away. And Dave Crew has lost the first position there as Rodders just pips in front of him. Madley on the inside. Madley and Rodders go into the first corner there, side by side, in through the S's. I think they're all going to get through. Oh,
there we go.
Holy fucking moly. That was Rigel. That was Rigel and Rodders. That was Rigel and Rodders having a bit of a doodah there. Crikey, holy moly. Was that Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill visit all over again? I'm not sure. I don't think it was intentional, but that is Rodders right the way down at the bottom there. Rodders now playing catch-up. Where is Rodders? Rodders in last place playing catch-up. I think that was so fast into that corner there. But, oh, crikey.
That was definitely people fighting, and they both had equal right to that corner. That's, I don't know if you can, you know, if you can adjudicate one way or another on that.
I don't think I can. Impressive. I don't think I would. I don't think I'd call it Draco. Ambulance for Tiger. I don't think I could call it. I think by virtue of the fact that Rigel has rejoined the back of the pack in 11th there and not waited for Rodders to sort of assume a position in front of him, would be one of two things. Either Rigel immediately knowing that it wasn't his fault, or secondly, of course, they're all in the same channel. Undoubtedly, Rodders would have said something like, shit, I'm sorry, keep going, or whatever. But that makes it a very interesting situation for what is essentially, you know, later down in the field. Now, I think by Rodders' pace, I think there's something wrong with the car. No, it's not. He's going full pelt now. Crikey, Rodders, we'll keep a close eye on you. Up in first, though, let's not take it away from him. Dave Crew leading now, just done a 1:36.076, and he's what? You know, 0.6 of a second in front of Madley going into the S's.
He's definitely in the position to go ahead and keep this right now. Let's see, first and all the way up to fifth right now is a close pack right now.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, you know, if you're watching with your children, send them to bed, because I think I slipped out an F note, and I can't promise that won't happen again. This is RWB, not BBC, Channel 3, or any other channel out there.
I think Rigel just dropped out.
Oh, that's terrible. Did he really? Did he really? Rigel has dropped out. Now, what does this mean? This means that if this man can finish first, unlikely, but, you know, there's a long way to go yet. He's fast, we know that. Rigel has dropped out. This is terrible, terrible news. But you know what? I've got to talk to him. We've got to get him in here, and we've got to find out what happened. Draco, I'm wondering whether you can go and... In fact, no, let's... Yeah, Rigel. Is there any chance we can have a chat with you?
Yeah, I'm kind of free now.
Oh, now, listen, look, number one, so sorry about that. Number two, please tell us what happened. We saw the back end of it, but we weren't in a position to adjudicate, of course not. And this has got great connotations for your sort of lead, notwithstanding the fact that Rodders is currently in 13th. So what happened?
I believe, well, I just managed to claw my way back past past Charger. Rodders had lost the back end coming out of the second corner, skewed across in front of me, and I couldn't avoid him. He took us both off to the side, but he said that was his race over, but I don't know if he's still running. But later on I clawed my way back past Charger, and for some reason I think it was Hacks was a bit slow going towards the Degna 1. and through Degner 1, I brake for the Degner 2, and Charger rang into the back of Hacks, and Hacks rang into the back of me. So, well, I understand as it happens. I think Rodders needed a clean sweep to draw level with me, so thankfully it wasn't league changing.
Beaner's hit the wall. He's dropping down now, guys. Sorry, didn't mean to jump in. Beaner's down to 6.
Who's down to 6?
8. Mark Bean, and he may be out.
Yeah, Mark Bean's retired. Let's have a recap, guys. Mark Bean's retired, Charger's retired, and terribly, we're just talking to Rigel now, and we'll come back to him in a minute. Rigel's also retired. But just before we come back to Rigel, well, let's just revisit the situation with Rodders. Rodders is now in 9th. He's now climbed essentially 5 places, although 2 of those are retired. He's on a charge. He's 0.4 of a second behind C-Hacks. That's, you know, to say he's got to get past C-Hacks as easy is like, well, you've just got to go down to Sainsbury's naked, 3 o'clock in the afternoon in a wheelchair. That ain't easy. So getting past C-Hacks is not going to be easy, and nor is C-Hacks just going to give him the position. Rigel's just told us there, Rodders has got to get a clean sweep. It's a long race. He's currently 9th. We see the sort of the ratio of people dropping out. There's nothing to say that he can't do it. So back to you, Rigel. Rodders is up against it, but it's certainly not impossible, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Really? Do you think that?
He needed to qualify first. He needed to qualify first, win the race, and get fastest lap.
Oh, very good point. And Dave Crew picked everyone at the last minute there. Dave Crew currently still leading the race out there. Nothing to take away from Dave Crew. We'll come back and revisit the whole situation in a minute. Rodders has now got past C-Hacks. So the best that Rodders can do is do a clean sweep, which is extremely difficult, and even then he's going to be a couple of few points behind you, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But saying that, you know, this is not the way that you wanted to win the championship. Clearly.
No, it was actually once Rodders got pipped for pole position, I thought, well, that's nice. I can relax. I can enjoy the race and have some good tight racing with the guys. Without the stress of worrying about whether the league was going to be tied or not. It's just an unfortunate incident, but thankfully it came at the last race rather than a few races before.
Yeah, and not absolutely. Rigel, talk to us about tyres around here. Talk to us about if you can do so without compromising Dave Crew's strategy, which I'm sure there was some form of team orders, perhaps, I don't know, but. We said on the opening part of the stream, you know, Suzuka, every single type of corner there is, hairpins, long sweepers, uphill, downhill, a chicane, and so forth. Is it difficult on soft tyres around here?
I reckon it is. I didn't even do a test stint on softs in the end. I likened this track very much to last week, to Slovakia ring, whereas it's got a few less long sweeping corners. It was going to be the same length in laps, for one thing. And when I did a stint on the mediums, they got pretty hot by lap 12. Now that would indicate to me that the softs are going to be getting hot, sort of lap 8, lap 10. So getting them to do a longer stint is going to be hard work. Now, I think Dave is actually either on softs. Yeah, he's on softs at the minute.
Yes, he is. Yep.
I think he's looking at a reasonable stint on them. He did talk to me about using them for a little bit. I think he can actually make them go a little bit long as well. So as long as he can hang on the lap times, he should reap the benefits with this one.
Well, yeah, we'll be watching very closely. Our pace is not the same as the paces guys out there when it comes to our own evaluation of the tyre strategy. Earlier on, Draco, we mentioned between laps sort of 12 and 15, somewhere around there, perhaps?
I thought it was like 15 to 17 laps.
15,
yeah.
Oh, beg your pardon. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how that happens. You're right, Rigel. Dave Tune is on. Dave Crew and H Tune have just had a baby, and they're calling it Dave Tune.
That's an amazing amalgamation right there. All right.
Dave, let's have a rundown of where everyone is at the minute. Rodders has gone up into 6th place, so he really is on a charge. Dave Crew out there in 1st place, and he's got a very, very comfortable lead to H-Tune. H-Tune in 2nd place currently, the partner for Punterific of Seahacks. Marvellous position for H-Tune there, and let's hope he holds that. 4 seconds behind him, Justin Madley in 3rd place. Not being funny, look at that picture. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, I'm sorry, mums and dads, if you're reading that. I mean, that picture just says, you know, if you were in a pub and he walked in and said, "I'll have a beer," you'd buy him one, wouldn't you? You wouldn't even make friends with him. You'd just buy him one.
It's like Charles Bronson's brother, isn't it?
Hit it. Look at that. I tell you,
I don't know what to be afraid of more, the mustache or the chin. Wait a minute.
He's a lad. Pinto out there in 4th place, 1.6 seconds behind Madley. FX, who had a fantastic qualifying. You know, he qualified first for a while. What did you think when you saw FX up there, Rigel?
Oh, that's amazing! I don't know where he pulled that from. Yeah. And then I looked down for a minute, and Dave Crew was up and first. So, it's one thing about what has happened is it's actually nice to give some of the other guys a shot up the front. To be honest, I quite happily to sit back and give some glory to them. There's a lot of other guys have put equal amount of effort in. And they don't always necessarily get the results for it, so it is nice to see. I see Madley's going to have to keep an eye on his pace, I think it's shaping up to be quite nice.
Yeah.
One thing out of the
go,
top,
Draco.
Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to.
No, it's all good. Go
Madley's in on the mediums, whereas the top 4 right now, there's only one on mediums, and the rest are on softs.
That's
so
right.
Madley's going to get a little bit. It looks like we had someone come off the track a little bit and lose a spot there. That might have been Rodders. But once again, we're talking about that lap 15, lap 17 area, and Madley can go ahead and extend if he plays his cards right and he conserves his tires a little bit.
Yeah, very good point. And you're right, yeah, top 4, well now you got Madley and FX who are both on mediums, and Dave Crew and H-Tune in 1st and 2nd on soft. Then you've got Pinto's running soft. We're running with Rodders at the minute, just under a second behind, just under a second behind Pinto, who's also on medium, so he's got a few legs on him. Interestingly enough, Seahacks is running hards. What do you think of that, Rigel?
I think that's going to be tricky. I think he was doing a 130 in practice, so that's on average losing around about 2 seconds a lap. So he's going to have a hard job getting those to give him a good result.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he could be playing the long game. Let's be honest.
I think the only way that might work is if he managed to string out for a bit over 2/3 of the race and then switch to the softs.
It'd be interesting to see. Exactly. In unison, it wouldn't surprise me either. Seahacks is no fool. He's called the surgeon for a reason. He's done his practice, etc. It may well just be that right flank strategy that no one else has thought of. 2/3 of the race on hards, last minute, switch to softs, bang, and then all of a sudden you've got the legs. But let's keep our eye on Seahacks. For sure, you're absolutely right. He's putting in 130s at the minute. His fastest was a 129.8, so you could say 130 or so. But as you say, 2 seconds a lap. You've only got to go 30 laps, and that's a minute down. And that's sort of mid-race. So yeah, very, very interesting. Let's finish off with the rest of the pack, and then come back to Rigel for a couple of questions if we can, if we may. Flack down in 8th place. I believe Flack Flack is Mark Bean's partner there. I don't mean they're married. I mean they're teammate. So Flack down in 8th. Flack in 8th place. Pinpoint, Governor, Bulldog, Governor. Governor is down in 8th place. 9th place, that's Madley's profile. If we had a picture of Pinpoint there, it would be similar to Madley's. I assure you of that. And then down in currently running in last position, which is the wraps up the overall 10th runners that are remaining around Suzuka, is our very own wise old man, Why is old Al Cos? So there you go. So there's a rundown. Dave Crew back up at the top there. Earlier on, Rigel, you mentioned about nice to give some guys that wouldn't normally get some coverage or the exposure or actually the ability to lead out in the race there, give them the opportunity to do so. And I think one thing that I've learned from over the past 12 weeks on commentating and watching the races is that what is key in my view, and again, interesting to hear you talk about it, what is key is continuity. And you know, I just gave myself as an example. I can qualify mid of the pack, but actually after about 10 minutes, I'll fall off the track. Well, if you fall off the track, you're up against it straight away. And these guys, having done 12 weeks out here and having turned up every week and raced for an hour and 20 minutes, 2 hours worth, notwithstanding all the training, really is starting to pay off for these guys that used to be in the lower or middle packs.
So, are you faded off, or are you asking me a question?
No. The point being is that continuity is key, and where some of them would normally be at the back or the middle of the pack, now they've started to get much more confident and able to sort of give a better show of themselves.
Yeah, consistency is vital. Basically, myself, I'd kind of break a track down corner by corner, and you just remember what you did last time and what the result was, and you just augment your reactions accordingly. Obviously, sometimes you don't get good results. There's other things in the mix, how warm the tyres are, how much fuel you got on, etc., etc. Well, over time, if you stick to that mantra, that way of doing things, you become a lot better at it, and the consistency grows. And with that comes speed. I started this season. I wasn't very good at qualifying. I had good race pace, but the qualifying, it just eluded me. And then it just came to a point where we got used to the car and we got used to being consistent with it, and then all of a sudden the pole laps came along once or twice. So yeah, consistency, just concentrating on each corner, break the track down into each corner, how you did it last time, how you're going to try and improve it this time, and just break it down like that.
Yeah, steady as she goes, find your rhythm, get your pace, get comfortable. That's the biggest thing in the middle of the race. You push too hard, you're going to make a mistake, and then you're going to put your own self out of contention along the way.
Yep, there you go. So consistency is key. Get consistent first, worry about speed later, break it down into parts. We heard it from the chief track master himself. And I'm saying this I'm saying this to us in here and to people that watch it afterwards. They all know that. It's me that needs to put that in a sandwich and can eat it.
Well, you see, the more you do it, the quicker you get at remembering each section that you break down. You become far more fluent with it, and that carries over to when you race different cars. You start to recognise traits of different cars quicker. And which in turn helps you find the optimum performance of each car quite quickly.
Wonderful stuff.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Will add, I wasn't saying earlier that other people don't get as much coverage. I think you guys have been great at making sure everybody gets a little bit of time in the sun. What I was more pointing towards is these guys have worked hard. All the guys in the middle pack have worked hard, and they're still here in race 12, where many have fallen by the wayside. And that's what I'm saying. It's really nice for them to have a really good moment in the sun at such a lovely track.
Quite right. And well said, and and we regularly visit the. This is not a case of just turning up and haven't put any time in. It's an hour and 20-minute race. It's 20 minutes worth of qualifying. You've got warm up as well. The guys practice beforehand on a Saturday. A real life commitment goes on here. It's a Saturday, for the love of God. Most people like to go away to the discotheque I don't believe they call it anymore.
Why do you think?
In your
Why do you
day,
think
they
most of
called
us
it
are
that.
old here?
What the heck is a discotheque? Wait a minute.
Rigel used to go to the discotheque, yeah, but you're right. Yeah, most of us have passed the discotheque, but it's real life commitment. They put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy into it, and all for their own fun and everyone else's enjoyment, and that's for those that they're racing with as well. So I take my hat off to everybody as I try to allude to every week, but fair play to them. Great, let's have a rundown, shall we? So let's go from the top. Dave Crew then in first place out there. Fantastic lead from H-Tune of 4 seconds. Dave Crew's last lap was a 1:28.667. His best was a 1:27.480. A 1:27.480, which is the fastest lap out there thus far on what is a lap 14. H-Tune in second place, 4 seconds behind Dave Crew, 1:28.873. Fastest being a 1:28.1. Third place, Justin Madley, the mad Welshman. Go and have a look at that driver profile again. Look at the state of that. What happened to keep your beard? You look like a psychopath, lunatic. I think he works for Mercedes. I'm not sure I should have said that. There we go. Madley out there, 1:29.7, 1:28.6. Dave Crew to a 1:29.7. Madley is on medium tyres. That time differential, Rigel, is that down to the tyres?
It's holding steady by the looks of it at the moment. Find with the soft tyres, they have an initial advantage, and then as they heat up, they tend to go back towards the medium tyres. So, well, it even said that Madley's closed up again a little bit.
Yes.
So yeah, I think last week you were talking about why were people making the softs last as long as the mediums. And I think it is just that the softs have got a initial advantage.
Sorry, terrible news, Raj. Dave Crew has retired. Something has happened to Dave Crew. We missed that. Dave Crew has retired. That is awful news. Shit, Dave. Sorry.
I didn't see what happened there.
Yeah.
No. Rewind. You that I saw in the pits. It was you that I saw in the pits, Rigel. He's back out. Hurrah! He's back out.
Fambulance.
Breaking news, ladies and gents. Rodders currently in third place. Medium tyres. He's now 2 seconds behind Madley. Crikey, Fambulance. The art just can't keep up with this. Jesus, thank God we got a couple of weeks break after this. Rodders up into third place. 1.8 seconds behind Madley. Madley 6 seconds behind, 5.5 seconds behind H-Tune. So essentially Rodders is 6 seconds behind lead position at the minute. On mediums, we're on lap 15. We said lap 15, didn't we? Dave Crew was on soft, so good call, Draco, because it was lap 15 that he pitted, not retired. He didn't retire. That was Rigel I was looking at. Crikey, Jesus, I thought he retired.
I did too, by the way that it was looking when we switched the camera over. I was trying to figure out what had happened.
We have got some terrible news though. Pinpoint has retired. Al Gartner has retired. They've both retired. Could we have missed what happened to them? I think we have. We're unbelievable. On the last round of the 12-round race, we've got 9 runners out there. H-Tune in first, leading Justin Madley. Neither of these have pitted yet. Rodders, all the way back down in last position of 14 cars, has worked his way through to third place, hunting down as we're riding in the cockpit with Madley. Fourth place, FX, 0.7 of a second behind Rodders. But saying that, Rodders just pipped FX there. Dave Crew, who is the first person to have pitted, is now on medium tyres, so he's got a good, 20 laps in him for medium tyres. Now, I think Charger was on medium tyres. He joins us in here in this minging commentary room again because he hasn't sacked. I believe he's having an affair with the cleaner. We'll talk about it later. But Charger, medium tyres, how long can they go on mediums out there?
I was on softs.
Oh, thanks very much. Ruin the fucking continuity. Why don't you? Well, give a guess then.
I'd say they probably. Well, they'll do a third of the race. I assume, Roger, you were on a 2-stopper with me.
Yeah. And my brakes worked.
Yeah, okay. In my defence, the reason I didn't come on straight away was because I've just watched it back and I've done a recording. What happened? You overtook Axe on the left side. Obviously, he had to extend because it was a corner and your tyres rubbed, and he lost a load of speed. There was nothing I could do about it.
I think he'd already slowed. I think he saw what was going on. He was on hard tyres, so I don't think he was in the mood to fight. So I had to extend out a little bit more, and I think I had to brake a tad earlier, or I braked a little bit earlier for safety's sake, and it probably just caught you both out. So
it did. I had nowhere to go. I mean, you can hear the tyres squealing as you two touch as well, which probably took a bit of speed out of both of you.
Yeah, I wasn't intending to actually try and get past him there, but he was slow at one point leading up to that, so I had no choice to go where I was.
Charger, did you have a damaged car then as a result of that?
I didn't know, but I think my confidence was just not, because I felt bad for Rigel. It was one of those things. I couldn't stop. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't expecting the two of them to sort of go that slow through that corner. And it just caught me. It's my fault. I should brake. The guy at the back's responsibility to brake. But sometimes, when you know how fast you go through a corner, you don't sort of expect it.
I think I'm going to make sure that's on your gravestone if I outlive you. It just wouldn't stop.
Underneath the park.
I had stopped in my sort of corner, but you and, or I should say, Hax was pretty much really slow through there, and obviously I tapped into that gear and that was race over. Does that affect your position?
No, because Rodders didn't get pole, he can't get the clean sweep. So it's fine. I was looking forward to a nice, well, not a relaxed race exactly, but a good battle, particularly since I've lost a few places with the tangle with Rodders.
Now let's have a rundown, guys. Let's have a rundown. So H-Tune is currently out there in first place, 1.4 seconds behind him. 1.4 seconds behind him is Madley. Now on the wing with Madley is Rodders, and behind Rodders you can just see back there FX. H-Tune, I think. Oh, and it looks like Rodders is going to take Madley on the outside, just coming into the 130 right into Casio. Madley's just now dripped. He's just dripped in behind. He's dripping, and he's just dripped in behind Rodders. But Rodders is now in first place. Rodders is now in first place, which is unbelievable, is it not?
Well, I think really it's possibly Dave Crew that's net first at the minute because he stopped. But the rest of these guys haven't.
No, that's correct. They have all, Rodders, Madley, FX, H-Tune, they've all got to pit. H-Tune, I believe, is in the pit now. H-Tune is in the pit. Dave Crew is now in 5th place. He would now just slip into 4th as he goes through. Dave Crew now in 4th. He's now got 30 seconds to Madley and FX. And he's 32 seconds essentially to the front of the pack. Rigel, how long do you need to come in, pit and get out again?
It's around about 30 odd seconds, I think, which is around about the gap he's got at the minute.
That's right.
I think as well he's probably going to go for a long stint and then go back on the saw.
Interesting. All the front four now have got medium tyres. Dave Crew is the only one who's pitted. So on lap 19, his medium tyres are good. But the first three, Rodders, Madley and FX, their tyres, medium tyres, they've gone 19 laps on. So it'll be interesting to see when they come in. 30 seconds between Dave Crew and these front three that we're looking at here. Front three that we're looking at here. So it'll be interesting to see when they do come in, or certainly when one of those three come in, whether Dave Crew's just got the legs to take back his first place. Yeah, with Rodders out the front there, though, he will be pushing hard to extend that 30 seconds out. But with 20 laps on medium tyres, are they on the drop-off point?
They'll be getting hot, that's for sure.
I would keep your eye on H-Tune there because I think he's going to do what I did and go for a two-stopper on softs. He's done a third of the race on softs there, and he's still fifth.
And he's pitted, and he's out, and he's on soft tyres again.
I'd keep an eye on him because I think he might be a top 3 finisher there.
Well, I think so too, because he's pitted. He's got C-Hacks in front of him who hasn't pitted yet, but C-Hacks, you know, we said at the beginning, don't discount C-Hacks. All depends how these hard tyres perform around here. It is a demanding track on tyres. C-Hacks is on hards, and Pinto has gone on to hards. So maybe Pinto's on softs at the beginning.
Guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we lost Flack about five laps ago.
Dear.
Looks according to him that he had a bad DRS issue.
Back to Pinto. The fact is Pinto was on softs at the beginning, has now gone on to hards. So maybe he is now doing the long haul on hards, the other way around to what we think C-Hacks is doing.
Not sure if Pinto was on hards earlier, was he not?
Not that I saw, but then again...
Oh, Rodders is pitting. Rodders is pitting.
Okay, in with Rodders then. Rodders is pitting, riding with Dave Crew. Dave Crew now coming down into the 130 right. And into the Casio triangle.
Close.
They're literally going to be on top of each other on the... Well, maybe not. Looks like Rodders is coming out now.
Yeah, Rodders just pipped him, just coming out now. So Rodders maintains his first position. FX is up into second, Madley is up into the first. But you know what? They haven't pitted yet. Rodders is now in third, 30 seconds behind them. 1.8 seconds behind him, this man, Dave Crew, who pretty much wants his first position back. Rodders, of course, as we know, can't win the championship, but certainly out of sheer determination, grit and Scottish pride, will want to close that gap up to Rigel.
How he is just attacking those corners.
Well, he's got good tyres on there. Yeah, you know, Rodders has got good tyres on there as well now. So, you know, these two, you know, they're the top two that have pitted. Let's ride with FX. Let's see how he's doing.
The softs are very good, Red.
Yeah, Madley and FX both coming into pits now. Rodders now coming around Spoon Curve and down the hill along the back stretch. So he should have enough time there just to pip them, I think. In with Madley into the pits. FX is now pitted. He's now up with Rodders into Casio. Right behind him, that man there, Dave Crew, and those two should retake first and second place. Let's see. And I think actually, yeah, there we go. So Rodders has retaken his first place. Dave Crew has taken his second place, but right behind him, it must have just got in front of Madley. Madley, 0.6 of a second behind Dave Crew. So, run up from the top then. Rodders has now pitted. Medium tyres is out there, first place from what was all the way down to 14th. He's in damage limitation mode right now, Rodders, in championship with championship points to Rigel. Dave Crew in second place. He's now pitted. He's gone medium tyres. And 2 seconds behind Rodders. Madley, 0.7 of a second behind him. He's also pitted and on medium tyres. And FX UK, 1.5 seconds behind Madley. He's also pitted and he's on medium tyres. C-Hacks has not pitted yet. He's on hard tyres. We think he'll go 3/4 of the way with the race and then flick to softs. Be interesting to see what happens there. C-Hacks down in 5th place and his fastest lap has been a 1:29.2. H-Tune, watch out for H-Tune because he's on softs now. You heard Charger earlier. There's a strong possibility that H-Tune will do a double stop on soft tyres. We know he's fast. He qualified well up there at a fast race pace, you know, and he's putting in 1:28s out there. So watch out for H-Tune. Pinto now on the hard tyres from what we thought was soft tyres at the beginning. That may be wrong on watching the stream back, but you know, watch out for Pinto. It's a fair assessment. He might not pit again. There's still 46 minutes left of the race to go. That's still a hard call, but a possibility. And last but not least, before I hand over to Cos, before I have an embolism, is Cos down in 8th place and again on hard tyres and not pitted.
I think Pinto pitted too early to do a one-stop. I think he's pitted about 3-4 laps ago, so really he needed to pit on 28 to do a one-stop, I would have thought. What's interesting now, though, is we got 4 up the front on the same tyre, but they're all on different ages. I think Dave Crew's tyres are the oldest. Madley and FX are the youngest, with Rodders right in the middle. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes the most out of the tyres, who conserves them the best.
Yeah, this is a tyre conservation track. There's no question about that. Charger, are you still with us in stream? What was your strategy?
I purposely didn't qualify. I wanted to start from the back because I thought there'd be a few offs, which there were. I can't remember where I got up to, but I was just going to go slow, steady on the softs. I had 100% traction on, which conserved them quite a lot, and it was still pretty quick. I could have put, I'm probably, it's 128 to 29. So I don't know what's Rodders putting in at the minute on mediums.
Looks like 128, 447 right now was his last lap.
Yeah, I think I could have probably matched that on close enough. If I could have done the whole race, I think the softs might have been a top 5 finish. Some people running low downforce. What downforce was you running on?
21.20. It was just enough to give a nice amount of grip without losing too much speed.
I was running less downforce but higher traction, 18.
Yeah, I think actually H-Tune is probably going to finish where he is. I don't think he's got any advantage with pit stop time, and any benefit he's going to get from those soft tyres is going to be lost in the latter part of his stint. So I think he's going to finish where he is. He's got 52 seconds to Pinto anyway.
Yes, he's got a bit of gap. He's got some air, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We're just in Madley there. Take Dave Crew and FX. I think was this three-way here between Madley, FX, and Dave Crew. Madley just got him coming out of Casio there. Yeah, interesting what you're saying there, Rigel, about H-Tune now flipping on to what is the soft tyres. He's got a bit of air. He's just taken Seahacks. Now, they're teammates. I'm not sure whether actually Seahacks would have let him have it or whether they did have a bit of a strategy beforehand. But H-Tune has now moved up to 5th place.
Yeah, I think someone that could have made the best of those, if Rodders is putting 128s in on mediums, he could probably put a 126 and a half, 127 in on softs. If you could make the most of it, I think softs around there, 2-stopper, probably would have been the way to go if you can conserve the tyres.
I think the degradation is, well, it's not so much degradation with these tyres, it's the heat. I think the heat is going to be too much. That's why you end up losing time on the soft tyres, whereas the mediums spread their heat build up over a longer time period.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do a rundown. Rodders out there, lap 25 in first place. 5-second gap behind him. We've got Madley. We just seen Madley there, and he just took Dave Crew and FX, that group of 3. While we've been talking, FX has taken Dave Crew. Dave Crew, FX, Madley, and Rodders all on medium tyres, and FX challenging Madley on the inside, going around the first corner up into the S's. Great racing from him and a great challenge there from FX into Madley. Riding with cockpit with FX, undoubtedly coming up to this. It's Dunlop, isn't it? Coming up to Dunlop, he'll challenge him, perhaps going down into Denga and through into Spoon.
Yeah, Seahacks is in the pit. Seahacks is in the pit.
Great skill in not running wide on the Spoon.
Oh, and Madley has gone wide at Denga corner. Has gone back on the track now. That has allowed FX to zip on in and say thanks very much, Madley, old boy. as Dave Crew, riding with him now, challenges Madley. So the pressure is really starting to pile on here. We spoke to Rigel earlier on, and he was talking about the importance of continuity. You've only got to have one off and you're going to lose a place. FX has got great continuity out there. We know he's fast, and FX is now up in the second place.
Yeah, I think that's why Dave Crew lost a few places. I think he had a slowdown because he was going slow out the last chicane. I think that's where he got passed.
I think my teammates carried me, FX.
Well,
he's left me.
Absolutely wonderful job from him. You know, we mentioned about continuity is king. We mentioned that, you know, if you put the time and effort in there, you get more confident, etc. And clearly, you know, FX as this 12-week league, I don't think anybody would turn around and say that their racecraft or their confidence or their ability to stay on the grey stuff hasn't increased, if indeed it was in doubt beforehand, because just having the sheer opportunity to do it has enabled these guys, just like FX, just like H-Tune, just like many of them out there, to be much more confident for longer races.
They're very difficult cars to drive. They're not my sort of car. I'm not very good in them, as has been evident. But they suit some people. They're not for everyone.
It's just like driving cars on rails. I actually find them not easy, but not terribly difficult to work out. It's just a different style to say a GT car.
I agreed, and with this one too is your speed and how you carry through on the turns, especially on your turn exits. They really kind of they focus more on your time craft too. You know, your positioning and how you're getting out of the apex is really important on these, just even for staying on the track. And speaking of which, look at their C-Hacks now.
Yeah. You know, I was just about to say, you know, FX is just pulling away a bit from Madley, but FX, Madley, Dave Crew, H-Tune, all in the same sort of battle space out there, all within, you know, 2.5 seconds of each other, which is nothing when you're doing, you know, 190 miles an hour around this place. And as we saw earlier on, you've only got to come off once and that's it. And you'll lose, you know, in this sort of pack, you'll lose a place, possibly two. So, you know, FX, Madley, Dave Crew, H-Tune, really sort of pushing hard, but all aware that they've got people around them.
I've got to say, H-Tune's racecraft has come on leaps and bounds. I mean, he's like the mouse in the corner sometimes. He doesn't say anything. He just gets the job done. When he first started, he was pretty slow, but he's really come on, hasn't he, Raj? I'm quite sure.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have improved a lot. I think one nice aspect of this league, which perhaps hasn't been mentioned quite so much, is the tyres. It's been the first league that I can remember where actually having to work out how the tyres work and what works best has actually been a deciding factor in these races. It wasn't particularly evident early on in the league, but a few people had sussed it by like the third or fourth race. I myself got caught out with I think it was Imola. It was actually Imola was one track where you could run the softs for a long period because all of the corners on there are quite short. And it was then it became evident that the tyres were a major factor, and I love that. I think it's a fantastic element to add. It adds, it puts something else into the mix and makes sure that it isn't just the same people up the front all the time. It's not just about how well you perform on the tracks, about how well you work out how the tyres work.
Which takes time, though. I mean, people that have got time to put that exploring and benefiting from it, haven't they?
Well, I think you could work it out relatively quick. Once you knew about it, you could work it out relatively quickly. My way of doing it was I always practice on the medium, and then it's just judging how quickly those mediums get up to the 100 odd degrees
FX
mark.
is off and he loses 2 places to Madley and to 3 places. He loses it to Madley, Dave Crew and H-Tune. And there we go, 3 places. FX back on track.
But thankfully no damage.
Yes, thankfully no damage. Riding with him now. I think he just went wide coming out of Spoon Curve there along the back stretch. I think that's all it took. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think he's got any damage. Back to what you were saying, Rigel, about the tyres. So essentially, you know, the fact that the guys have had to think about their strategy, maybe get out there, do some practice, you know, see how far they can go on these different tyres and look at the different options and then decide with their own racecraft, you know, which is the best option, has been an extra dimension to this race and this league that otherwise wouldn't normally exist.
Yeah, indeed. It was perfectly illustrated, and possibly one of my favourite races was the French track. Paul Ricard, Pippin Rodders at the end.
Yeah,
that was sorry, Rodders, but I'd absolutely loved, absolutely enjoyed that.
So did I.
That was a good race.
So
Yeah,
did we. That was a
good race.
cracking race, and I think that was the first race. It was the opening race, wasn't it?
No, I think it was the third race. I might be wrong, but that it was then. I think it was then that it became evident that the tyres really were a factor in this league.
Absolutely. 8 runners left out there, ladies and gents. 8 runners. We've got Rodders out there at the minute. Lap 30 as he now starts lap 30. Just put in a 128.143. Now it's a, let's see now, 128.143, an invalid lap. So obviously he got slightly wide or whatever. So 128, whatever it was. Madley in second place, 10 seconds behind Rodders. So Rodders is extended. Whoa, crikey, I think that was Dave Crew. Let's just check now. Yep, back on the ambulance, the old aorta won't be able to handle it. Jesus. Dave Crew back on the track in third place, a second behind Madley. H-Tune, well, H-Tune in fourth.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think this is the nerves. I think this is the track heating up. I think you're starting to see a little variation in the tires now. I mean, it's not been just Dave Crew. It's also been Justin Madley. It's been FX. We're starting to see a little sloppy driving. I think it has to do with the heat.
I think it also has to do with the fact they're a little bit spread out as well. Once you get onto your own, your mind wanders a bit. When you're actually following someone, you're focused. If you're just pretty much doing time trial on your own, your mind does tend to wander.
Well, going back to what I said earlier, it is concentration, but it's breaking each corner down and just taking each one as it comes and remembering what you did at it last time, factoring in what kind of state your tyres are in, etc., etc. So yeah, it is a bit time trial mentality, but I think you can busy yourself with looking at what everybody else is doing and working out what strategy other people are on, whether you need to be aware of other people doing something different that might catch you out. So there's plenty to keep your mind occupied at the same time as keeping your concentration.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you're pushing the boundaries. Oh, I can do that a little bit faster. And that's where the mistakes come. You know, when you're in a race scenario where you've got 2 or 3 people, you're not thinking about that. You're just watching them.
Charger, can you turn up your microphone a bit, old boy? It's a bit quiet, and it will just prevent people from listening to the interesting things that you have to say.
Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you very much. As we're watching Dave Crew now, as Madley just went wide on Spoon Curve there, but just managed to keep it on there. Rigel, Charger, I'm not sure whether you guys are watching the stream or whether you've got access to the race director and therefore watching it real time. We've stayed with Dave Crew for a while now. How do you assess his lap and his continuity, Rigel?
Well, I usually do a bit of practice with him on a Friday, and he's pretty much on pace with me. I think the only where he loses out a little bit is on that race consistency, but it is a lot better than when we started. So I won't take any credit for what he and I have sort of worked out between ourselves. He's given me some good tips, and I think I've contributed to helping him be consistent, hopefully. So he's looking good. I mean, you can't be up in third without being they're having a good level of consistency.
Did you both get a hotel room and get all boiled up and have a bit of a brainstorm?
No, we used your spare bedroom while your missus watched.
Oh, okay. I wonder why.
Right, wait, behave yourselves, the pair of you. No, that's interesting you saying that. Yeah, now obviously we have got teams. There haven't been any team orders as far as I know, but how far has the sort of team interaction gone throughout this league, Rigel? Has it been down to swapping information and practicing with one another?
Yeah, generally Friday evenings have been good for us. I think Dave gets a lot of time to practice in the week. I generally like to busy myself with other stuff. I don't like to be on it all week. I like to sort of put some time in on a Friday and then a Saturday afternoon before the race, and that's worked well between it. And yeah, it is just a question of we've both tried different things and passed it on to the other and say, try this, this seems to work here and this seems to work there. So yeah, it's just been trading information and working out fuel strategies and talking about which strategies might be better and which one's going to be on. Thankfully, we've been at a slightly different level each, so we haven't been racing against each other too often.
Yeah, but great news to see Dave up there, and he's had a couple of really, really good races. He's raced really hard, and it's been, it's a great continuity as we said earlier on. So, yeah, as you say, you can't. You can't not bring it if you're up there in third place. So great to see him up there and having a good battle with Madley. Madley wide again on that spoon curve, but good. Let's have a rundown. Rodders out in front there. Away he goes down the back straight. Madley behind him, 12.7 seconds in second place. Both of these guys have pitted. We've got 29 minutes left to go. Before even I get down towards the end of the run now, I'm going to pose the question to Charger. First of all, do you think they'll pit again?
Who are we talking about? The whole field?
The whole field. Apart from, yeah, the whole field.
Yes.
So another pit.
I'm not sure about Hacks. When did he pit?
He hasn't yet. Oh, no, he has.
He pitted at about lap 27.
Yeah, he's going one stop.
Yeah, he's one. Yeah, so
one stop.
I don't think he'll pit again, but I think the top 5 will. Definitely HG will.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be coming in the next lap or two for sure. If you break down, it's going to be about a 55 lap race. If you break that down into 3, that's 19, 18, 18. So I would expect lap 36.
Well, do you know what? What a relief. Someone else has done it for me. Thank you. Thank you. I passed it on. I've been wrong a couple of times, but most of the time I've been right. But thanks for that, Rigel. Madley again, going a bit wide around Spoon. Quite interesting. Dave Crew then, really applying the pressure onto Madley, which is wonderful to see. Under a second behind him. Whereabouts around here is the best place? Stupid question, and forgive me, but I think I pretty much know the answer. But just so that we clarify, where is the best place to use DRS around here, apart from the back stretch?
Well, it is out of the Spoon down to 130R and the main start-finish straight. It's actually lacking anymore. You see, you get 3 shots on the DRS, but there's only really 2 places to use it, unless, as we saw there, I think, unless you shut the DRS for 130R and then reopen it again for the last little stretch. That's the only way you can use it all up.
Yeah. Dave Crew topping out around about 200 down the start-finish straight. Is that about right?
Yeah, 200. I bet he wishes he made his gears a little bit longer now.
Because it seemed like he was topping out a first quarter of that start-finish and along the back straight as well.
Well, this is the problem. You can't necessarily gear a car imagining you're going to be in DRS, and the same thing, you can't gear a car imagine you're not going to be in DRS. You've got to try and have some kind of middle ground. I tended to try and gear a car so it just had a little bit left of RPM in 7th gear on the main straight, so you weren't quite topping out, but you had that little bit extra.
Yeah, it was just getting into the red zone.
Yeah,
I had about 3 or 4 dots left just in case I got the DRS or so.
I know the other trick around that is to have a longer gear ratio and then shorten 7th.
Yes,
But,
that's what I did.
To me, I don't like that because it changes the ratio that you go through other corners in. It brings into play potentially of having to change down to first gear for some of the hairpins.
Oh, it's Dave Crew takes Madley, Rigel. Dave 2 Crew takes Madley through Casio Triangle and is now up into second place. That's all it takes. Madley just went a little bit too deep into there. So now Madley's down into third place.
Yeah, that's it. Comes down to consistency again. I think Madley just lacks that little 2% on his consistency. I've raced against him a few times, some tight battles, but you work out your sort of profile of other drivers, and I have noticed he does have a little wobble here and there. So,
well, this is what happens when you cut your beard off. He's like He's cut his beard off, and as a result of that, you know, he's lost his consistency. He's lost his mini mojo. You know, grow your beard back.
He just needs a little top hat and some glasses. Oh, it's Mr. Potato.
What's the guy in prison?
Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson, yeah.
Charles Bronson's brother.
Right. Anyway, okay. Look, let's refocus on the race. So we said earlier on Rodders. Now look, in the time that Madley closing up there, clearly showing the DRS coming to effect. Oh, I'm going to go for a wide shot coming into Casio. No, surely not. You just haven't got the legs. No. But certainly saw him eat up the air between him and Dave Crew. So these two having a wonderful little battle out there, which is great news for the pair of them. H-Tune is the only one out there in the field on softs currently. Oh, back to these two because they've got 0.1 of a second. Madley on the inside coming into oh, get me an ambulance quickly. Get back on. Oh, as H-Tune just takes Dave Crew. Now, hopefully, Dave Crew has not damaged the car. Certainly, he'll have shit all over the tyres, but certainly, I hope he hasn't damaged the car. It looks like FX is in the pits. Yes, he is. So Dave Crew down into fourth place. Rigel, tyres, we're on lap 38. He's pitted once. Are these tyres now towards the end of their life?
Yeah, as I say, I think he's going a long stint. He pitted on something like lap 15, I think it was.
Did?
So it's 23 laps he's on now. So yeah, they're getting hot now. And I dare say, I think, I don't know, he's either going to go back on another set of mediums very soon. In fact, it's a little bit late for that. Or he's extending and trying to go on softs, which is possibly what Madley, maybe FX are going to do, because they haven't stopped again either.
No. FX is going softs, I know
FX has just gone in. FX is now on mediums, and he's just come out. He's just had his second.
Has he gone mediums
stop.
again?
Yeah, he's gone mediums. Now, as importantly as everyone else in their strategies and so forth, is this guy, Rodders, who over the past 3 laps has pulled out 5 seconds. He's now 19 seconds in front of Madley. It doesn't matter who was in the second place slot, Madley, Dave Crew, whatever. But it was actually, he's gained 5 seconds. So. We're now on lap 39. He has pitted. His tyres surely should be starting to go off yet, but his last lap was a 127.8, Rigel.
Yeah, he pitted a little bit later, didn't he? So he's yet to reach that meltdown phase of his tyres. It'll be coming in the next 4 or 5 laps.
Sorry, didn't mean to break in. H-Tune got in. Yeah, and he's on the way out right now with fresh tyres.
Great. FX just got a slow-down penalty there. For some reason, we don't always see it when someone gets a slow-down penalty, but we did just see it then. So, yeah, back to Rodders.
Yeah, Rodders has got it to lose, really. He can afford to relax a little bit. But then, as Charger says, your mind can wander. So he's got to stay on it. But I mean, all the time I've raced against Rodders, I've not really known him make that many mistakes, particularly when he's out on his own. I think the only time he makes mistakes is when he knows that somebody is lurking and someone is around. But yeah, mistakes are few and far between with Rodders.
Guys, let's just recap out here because we got some time. We got some no man's land in between these fellas right now. Rodders out there in first place, last lap 128.034. So he's still on it. He's still putting fast times out there. There's no question about that. Second place, we've got Justin Madley, RWB Madley, our Welsh. I've got to put that picture up again. Look at that, unbelievable. Madley out there, second place, 18 seconds behind Rodders. He's just putting a 128 on his last lap. Oh, just goes a bit bumpy there. 128.299 under the bridge. Dave Crew, who was having a fantastic battle with Madley there, and who just lost it coming out of the first corner, where I lost my second aorta and had my third heart bypass of the evening. He's up into second place, 10 seconds behind Madley. And behind him, 40 seconds now to FX, the yellow peril, Gandalf. Oh no, that's not Gandalf, is it? Who's that? Yeah, is that Gandalf?
That was Gandalf. You shall not pass.
Bilbo Baggins. Yes, so FX out there in fourth place. Wonderful. We have certainly, I'm always careful to try and not sound too facetious or petulant, which is never my intent at all. I'm one of those people that just tell you straight. But
why stray from your true self?
Let me tell you, I tell you to your face. I don't do any facetiousness or petulance on a fucking audio on YouTube. But FX, his improvement has been enormous over this 12-week league. And we've seen that in other areas. We've seen that on the Thursday nighters. We've seen that in the Porsche League. We've seen that everywhere. Going back to what you mentioned earlier on, Raj, about continuity is king, and about time in seat, and about the confidence in cars and circuits. FX, H-Tune, Cos, a lot of the guys who are normally middle to late sort of runners, have certainly improved a hell of a lot, and that's down to this league.
Dave Crew just changed the softs.
Dave Crew now on softs, gone round the first corner, maintained his third place. So that's good news for him. But he's got 40 seconds behind Madley. Madley now 20 seconds behind Rodders. So Rodders still pulling away. Last lap 127.9. So he's not coming in anytime soon, I don't think.
Well, the window for the softs.
In he comes, look. In he comes.
Yeah, windows for the softs is now. You can get 12 to 15 laps out of them without much drop off. So it's now or never. I'd expect Madley and perhaps FX to jump in any second too.
Madley now going to take the opportunity to try and gain some distance away from Rodders as he changes to mediums, interestingly enough. Madley now through first corner. Let's follow Madley for a while. That's not Madley. Through first corner, through the S's. Rodders now out on the circuit, now 11.5 seconds behind as Rodders comes up into the into the bank curve. Now he's going around Dunlop. Rodders now 11 seconds behind Madley. We'll keep a very close eye on that sort of time frame there. So you were expecting Rodders to go onto softs, Rigel?
He is on softs.
He is. You're right. He is on softs. Why was I seeing mediums? I don't know.
I think you looked at it before the tyres are changed after the fuel, so it was the last thing to.
Now you mentioned about fuel. Talk to me about fuel. Are these guys on full tankers from the very beginning, or did some of these got a fuel strategy?
No, this is the one car class where taking full fuel is a bad thing to do. It makes the car too heavy, and it also exacerbates that problem with tyre heating. So you do actually take fuel on at each stop. It all comes back to this tyre heating thing again, and finding the optimum grip level versus your fuel load. If you take, say with this, it was like 50 odd litres for a stint of 18, 19 laps.
Carry on, in comes Madley.
If you try to carry 50 odd litres of fuel on soft tyres, it means it puts more stress on the tyres and heats them up quicker. Whereas the mediums will take 50 litres and have good heat across their stint. Softs will work well if you're only doing a shorter stint and you have to take less fuel.
Or if you're slower, like me.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends how harsh you are on the tyres as well, how you drive.
I think downforce plays into it as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So it's all these factors that you have to experiment with. Once you get a handle on it, you can sort of guesstimate later on in later races, and you can surmise that, oh well, that 50 odd litres seemed to work well with those medium tyres, and they got quite hot relatively quick, so I know that the softs aren't going to be any good. So you do learn as you go along, and it does save you having to do some extra research.
And as we know, our league and most of our leagues are sponsored by Xerax and Racing Sim Tools. Can you, apart from using that wonderful app to set your car up with the help of those people who have got enormous IQs, more than me, which is about 3, can you set that up so that it takes into account the extra weight of the car with fuel loads and so forth?
Well, the chief place I suppose it's going to show in that is one's your ride height, and another is going to be your turning ability in a lot of the corners. You can do, but it does take a bit more advanced learning with that app. I mean, there's so much more to it than even I found out. But I could use it for basic things like sorting the rake of the car so that it was more level at high speed, and therefore gives you a better top speed. You could work out your braking in it, or whether you were locking up the fronts before the rears or the rears before the fronts, and you could get that balance quite well. You could work out whether you were getting a rebound bias or a bump bias on your suspension, which gives different attributes. If you want a car that you can trail brake in, you set up a rebound bias. And if you like it a little bit understeer, then you make it more bump bias. So there's a lot to it, and there's a lot more to be learned. So
sounds like a separate hobby.
I won't go on about it too much.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a separate hobby all in itself.
Give me a minute while I reattach my brain.
Well, like I said, you used all my IQ points up when you got as far as bias, and that was it. I was in maximum overload. But in all seriousness, the important thing is that there is an opportunity there to really learn how a car handles and how your different settings can affect that handling of the car, to the way that you like to drive. And if you don't know how to do that, and like me, you were just blown away by some of the things Rigel said there. Well, you've got Rigel you can ask, you've got Xerax you've got anybody in RWB that you could ask that would know. And if they don't know, they know someone who does know. So, get out there and buy it, is what I say. Racing Sim Tools.
It takes some of the guesswork out of setting up a car.
Let's say you might have to go ahead and assign a separate person altogether just to be your engineer.
It's a thought, isn't it?
Well, everybody likes a car to handle a bit differently, so it's probably better that you learn it yourself.
Now, let's have a quick rundown, guys, and then give a shout out to those guys in that are not racing anymore, and also out to YouTube. So Rodders out there, commanding lead at the minute. Let's rehash. Rodders can't rehash. Let's revisit. Rodders can't win the championship at the minute. The guy we've been speaking to just now, Rigel, he's going to win the championship. But Rodders can reduce the point differential between him and Rigel quite significantly by winning this race. He was 14th when we started and has worked his way all the way through the field and is now the only person on lap 46, which is significantly amazing. But to be perfectly honest with you, expected. He's very, very quick, very talented. So good for him. Second place, Madley. Put that picture up again and let him just grow a beard. Madley in second place, 24 seconds behind. He's out there on soft tyres. 128.173 was his last lap. Dave Crew, 11 seconds behind him. Dave Crew and Madley have had their battle backwards and forwards, and Dave has come off a few times, and Madley's gone wide at Spoon Curve. You heard Rigel earlier on talk to us about the continuity that Dave has, so very much had, and the efforts that he's given to Team Smug with regards to setups and so forth. FX, Charger's better half, who's had a fantastic race out there, and really, for me, as well as H-Tune and a few others, epitomised just how good you can get when you commit to a league like this over a time span of 12 weeks. Keep it on the grey stuff. He's got significantly quicker, and in my view, probably in the top sort of quadrants of RWB right now, in my view. And I watch more races than anybody. There's the thing.
He did make a statement today that he was up at his game, so I think he has. Yeah.
H-Tune, another one. I say another one. I don't mean that as if he's not a human being, an AI, but certainly someone who's improved hugely, and this league has given him the opportunity to do that. So well done to him. 4th place out there currently. C-Hacks, unusually on hard tyres. C-Hacks is quick, no question, and when C-Hacks flicks that switch, he gives an incredible amount of continuity, an incredible amount of practice time and hours, and prepares very, very well for races. Running out there in 6th place, you're not going to see him make a silly mistake, but you probably would see him make a silly strategy mistake. Maybe that would have been this race. Who knows? Pinto, again, another fast racer. I think we'll all agree on that. Out there in 7th place. He's been on and off this season, hasn't he, Rigel?
Yeah, I think so. He's not been able to get to it. As we see him, he's just got a drive-through penalty in the pit lane.
Now that has plagued this league quite a bit. Do you want to talk to us about that, Charger?
Yeah, I think we discovered on most, is it? That's most. That there's an Most. That's one. Most. That there's an issue if you go into the pits and cross the line with your pit limiter on, depending on the gear that you're in, you can actually go above the pit limit speed and get a drive-through for it, which I've noticed on the ingoing and outgoing pits. I can't remember what was the fix to make sure you go in second and not first.
Yeah, so slow down, stay in second.
Yeah,
you went into first. Your speed spike at 68. And it gave you a drive-through, but I will add, I don't think it's entirely down to the lower pit speed. Pit entry and your pit strategy, or actually taking a pit, is something that is the least practiced. I think everybody, if you're going to spend an hour or 2 or 3 doing many laps, you owe it to yourself to also practice your pit entry, because that's the one point in a race where you are susceptible to making a mistake.
Yeah, I'll hold my hands up there. I haven't done enough. And
so
I think you're right.
Very good point.
Yeah, it's just as vital as practicing those corners and working out your tyres and everything else. You just make yourself wise to what the state of play is with the pit lane.
It's a very good point.
Also, something to note too is okay. Go ahead.
No, Draco, go ahead.
Also, one thing to note too is that the engines in these cars are extremely powerful. Just one little touch of the gas pedal will send those RPMs up. And it can kind of divert your attention a little bit, whereas you're used to some of the other cars. They're a little bit gentler when you hit that gas, so you don't really run into that problem. I've seen a few times on the exit because they jump on it a little bit early. And I think that's kind of cause too, is that engine is just so powerful.
Yep, very good point. And everything that everyone said there, Rigel has highlighted the fact that you need to practice these pit stops. You can't just turn up on race day and think that you can press the pit limiter and that'll be it. Charger has admitted that he hasn't practiced it anywhere near as much. And to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm not just saying it because he's here, but if he says that, it's probably a fair assessment that most of us is not. And as Draco has said, depending on what car you're in, you know, some of them have significant amounts of power. This is the fastest, most powerful car in Raceroom, in this particular sim, and you know, its acceleration is extreme, even with traction control. So you can just blip over that amount, and you know, is a variable. Now, I have to be honest with you. You know, this is something that I threw about 10 hours worth of investigation in many months, well, about a year or so ago, when me and a very small bunch of close friends in Speedy Wings were just doing our own small group of racing before we all had to go our separate ways, most of them being military or professional pilots. And what the conclusion that we came to was that it didn't matter what car you were in. Didn't matter what car you were in. If you had it in first gear and floored it before the pit line on the pit stop, you would get a penalty. And that didn't matter what gear you were in. And the only way of being able to ensure that you didn't get a pit stop penalty, a drive through as a result of speeding, was to make sure the pit limiter was on and you were under that actual speed limit, even if you just feathered just under it. But and there are some people out there who would say, not just RWB, but in the community, I've had a look on the forums, some people are saying, you know, this needs to change, this isn't as it is in real life. Rubbish. You know, at the end of the day, if you're over a speed limit, that's it, you get a penalty as a result of it. Very interesting to hear. So what have we learned from what Rigel and Charger and Draco have said? In summary, make sure your pit limiter is on and make sure you're under the limit. And if that's in first gear or fifth gear, it don't matter. But if you go over it and the RPM limiter blips over it, you run the risk of getting a drive-through.
I'd agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily a problem with the game. I think it's just some more pit entrance and exits are more sensitive to it. You know, so it comes up as a glitch on a certain track when it isn't actually. It's just that you used to hit the limiter and think it's going to do it for you, and you should be watching your speed.
Well,
yeah, it is. Sorry, Rigel, go.
The long and the short of it, it became a known entity. An unknown entity can be dealt with.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that C word again. No, not the 4-letter one, Charger. The continuity word, the practice, which is everything that you guys have all said about pit stops, is absolutely the right thing to do and the way to overcome it. So this league has taught us one thing, and that is that, you know, if there's a strategy involved or if there are pit stops involved, and the strategy is key because it's a long race, then do yourself a favour, invest not as much, but certainly invest some time into ensuring that your pit entry and exit is top notch. Let's face it, real racing drivers do. They don't just turn up on day one and expect it all to go right. They train together, and although you've got AI doing it, what you can do is make sure that you set the conditions appropriately, that you can enter, change, and exit without a drive-through.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they don't suit me so much. I don't have the time to investigate the car so much. I'm more of a GT driver that'll just rock up with a whiskey and a fag and go, yeah, let's race. You know, and
you're more of a James Hunt.
Yeah,
that is something.
Yeah. I'm quite looking forward to the GT2 because they're a bit more forgiving. You know, there's certain things you can do to the car, especially like downforce. And also the pit stops. You know, we've got to use both compounds on that, so that's going to be quite interesting.
Just make sure your brakes work.
Yeah. Hold on, do you want me to lie down while you kick me in the ball?
Guys, 2 minutes left, two and a half minutes left of the race. You'll forgive me, I'm sure, as I give this sort of closing statement or closing thoughts on the race so far. We haven't looked at racer of the event. I'm going to ask Rigel and Charger for input on this as well. And unusually, I'm going to go first. And unusually, I'm going to mention who I want straight away. And for me, it's got to be H-Tune. Draco.
I'm loving the FX right now. I mean, he's shown a lot of grit. He's definitely had a few challenges, but he has really stuck with it. He's putting up respectable times. You know, I mean, it's kind of hard not to see from his point of view. That's my vote.
Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful choice, and it's between them two for me, but certainly, Rigel, your thought?
I'm going to show unashamed bias, I'm afraid. Dave Crew for me. Put a lot of effort in, and despite a couple of little offs here and there, he's up in third place, and it's a good result for him. So yeah, it's excuse the bias, but sod ya.
Well, and I think it's warranted. As you say, he has had a couple of offs. He has had some pressure and some great races and some great racecraft shown with Madley, especially into that corner there, the first corner. Yeah, it was a perfectly good choice. He can't have race of the event because he's in the top 3. Choose another.
Well, there you go.
Charger.
Well, I would have to go for FX, wouldn't I, as my teammate? But I'm not actually going to go for him. I'm going to say H-Tune as well, over the course of just his general racecraft, not just this league, but everything else. I think he's probably the most improved. I mean, Rodders, you can't knock Rodders, but you expect him to be where he is. He's in alien territory now, like Rigel. I'd like to go for Madley, but that moustache just put me off. So I'm going to go for H-Tune.
Okay, now listen, guys. Seriously, we've got 40 seconds left of the race. I've put it on auto director, which will watch Rodders across the start line. Rigel, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to put you in a corner, old boy. I'm going to ask you to choose another, because there is a possibility we could have a tie here and then ask YouTube. So, Rigel, FX or H?
Ooh, FX.
Right, we got a tie. YouTube, you're all listening to it. It's 14 of you out there. I want you to, now anyway, I want you to give us a vote. H-Tune or FX? Right, well, while they're doing that, at the end of the day, in my view, either one of those is a great choice. And we're watching Rodders right now. Where is he right now? He's gone along the back straight. So he's along the back straight. What a race this guy has had. What a championship this guy has had. We spoke to the winner earlier on, and he's with us now in the channel. Rigel has had a fantastic championship as well, but nobody can take it away from him. The achievements that he made in the last race and in this one has been quite simply a fantastic example in the sim racing community. Never give in, and drive and ride and prepare as hard as you can. Well done, Rodders. Rodders wins Suzuka. Second place, Madley coming down now through the back straight there. Essentially what was 20 odd seconds behind him. Madley's no slow coach, there's no doubt about that. And even though you've got a picture like that where you look like, I'm not going to say paedophile because that would be wrong, but a bruiser. He's a lovely guy. Madley crosses the line in second place. Very well done to him, and very well deserved as well. That was certainly
Got any sherbet lemons?
Point wise, Dave Crew, Rigel's teammate, team of Smug, who's had an outstanding race, like they all have, crikey. But he's had a couple of really interesting battles, hasn't he, Draco, with Madley. And FX, that group of 3, that 3-way orgy that they had earlier on. And so Dave Crew will cross the line in third place.
Well, it's an avalanche in YouTube chat, I'm afraid.
There is indeed, and it looks like we've got a winner, and I'm afraid I will announce it now. It's this man here, as the racer of the event is FX, who has epitomised the grit and determination and the improvement afforded by being involved from race 1 to race 12 on a exceptionally long league, exceptional amount of continuity and dedication required, and he's just improved so much. It's unbelievable. I'm so pleased for him. I'm sure he'll want to thank his mum and his nan and his dog and his auntie and everyone else.
And
so
his
well done to
teammate.
him and his teammate. H-Tune in 5th place as he crosses the line. C-Hacks, interestingly, in 6th place. I don't think his strategy worked. Guess what? Look what tyres he's on. He's on softs. So the hard softs didn't go with the one stopper, which is a bit of a shame. But, that's, everybody learns. Everybody learns something. And C-Hacks would have taken a lot away from this. C-Hacks, very, very quick racer. Pinto, down in what was 6th, I think it was. And who was last? Cos. Wow. What a great finish to the league, Draco. Your final thoughts before we talk to the guy.
What a hell of a way to end this. Great track, great racing, definitely some surprises and some moments that make you scratch your head and kind of wonder what the heck happened. But all in all, we got to see some of our other racers up in the front of the pack, and it was great to see them there.
Yeah, I've got to add, great league, everybody. Well done, everybody who stuck it out to the end. Those who didn't, I think you missed out massively. It was a very rewarding league if you applied yourself and did a bit of research here and there and had a good go at it. It really did yield results, enjoyment-wise and competition-wise. So well done to those who stayed.
Charger?
Yeah, I'd agree with all the sentiments. I'm just, sad that I didn't do as well as I could have done in there. But looking forward to the GT2. There's already 26 drivers signed up, I think, there.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yep.
that's looking to be an exciting race, and I've done some racing with some of the guys, and it's close.
I'm looking for a teammate, fellas. I'm not.
I'll team up with you, Tiger.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. And of course, we'll set up the commentary team exactly right for that as well. Now then, so what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to do things differently this week. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the channel with the rest of the guys, and we're going to have a chat with them at the very end of it. Fantastic result for Rodders and for Madley, and of course Dave Crew. Absolutely wonderful stuff. So shall we all jump up to the channel and carry on the end of the race commentary up there, guys?
Yeah.
Oops, I'm back. Yeah, there we go. Gentlemen, you're with us in the final phase of the commentary, the final part of the race, what has concluded a wonderful 12 weeks worth of hard racing in the F1 series. We'll have a little talk about that later on, but for now, we just want to say very simply that it's been a great series. No question about it. A little round of applause for you. There you go. Listen, Rodders, very well done to you. You won that race. Talk to us about what was going through your head at the very beginning there, when sadly you ended up dropping back to 14.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what happened at the start. It was very, very tight and a lot going on. I just know there was a bump and I ended up off the track. It was a hard hit. I went into the sand, was hitting my accelerator and I had no power, and I could feel my car at an angle, so I thought I've lost the rear wheel, that's it, I'm done. And I actually said on the comms, that's my race over. And I just kind of rolled, and when I rolled off the sand, I think it was, I hit my accelerator again, because I thought, am I hearing my engine? And right enough, I had power. I then thought my car was damaged. I had no confidence in the handling, so I'm taking it really easy. And then as I drove more, I thought, wait a minute. And I just put the foot down in a straight, done some left to rights, and realised my car was spot on. And then I just got the head down and just hoped. And yeah, that's two races in a row for chasing hope.
Well, it was a good result for you, and to be honest with you, in that early part there, we were a little bit worried that the car was damaged. We saw that Rigel retired, and then there was just this small spark, like ancient man first coming across fire. This small spark. I have made fire, and I thought to myself, crikey, Rodders wins this. Maybe it might be able to draw, but of course, we were all taken aback, and I mean that with all respect, of course, because the qualifying wasn't as normal as we would have thought it would have not. We've seen it before.
No, so as soon as I was pushing, and I thought I've just managed to pick. Was it Rige or Madley for pole? And I thought, you're dancer. I was on another lap going quicker. FX, or who it was, somebody popped a lap in just quicker than mine, and I was going quicker again to beat it. And I lost it, but in the end, it wouldn't have mattered because Dave just pulled off a blinder for pole. And at that point, I knew that was it. My chances of doing the league were done. And to be honest, a bit of regret and a bit of kind of gutted. But then I just thought I could just enjoy the race and make the most of it. So, which I did. So.
Well, we think you've certainly done that. And as ever, Rodders, throughout this whole league, and I'm sure everyone will say the same thing, because we always get together as a little club afterwards and watch the streams and have a laugh at stupid things that I would have said or things that people have done out there. But it's been a pleasure to watch you. And some of the things that Rigel said tonight, which rang true with me about continuity being king, and certainly how some members of RWB have really stepped up their game by virtue of being given the opportunity for a long league, long races, and although it being very physically and mentally demanding, their skill level has gone through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, that qualifying there showed you that how many folk have got pace. There's obviously more than just a one-lap pace in these cars, but I've seen countless people in the club put in as quick a lap as MD, and if they can just get that consistency and gel that together, there's going to be a whole bunch of us up there fighting. I couldn't believe, so I managed 2 of the 3 things I needed to draw tonight. Rigel went out early, which I really feel, I'm sorry to giggle, but I was actually really pissed off when that happened, because I knew I didn't want you out the race. But yeah, I got that. I got the fastest lap. I won the race. So try 3 or 4, but alas, I couldn't get pole. But it was a good try. And
well, oddly enough, I had the same sentiment as you after you didn't get pole. It was a case of, well, actually, I can now just relax and have a good race and see how the whole thing shapes out. And even then, once I don't know what happened to you, you seemed to lose your back end and you skewed across me, and you hit me, and that might have been the big hit. We went off together, but I managed to keep going, and it gave me this amazing prospect of having to fight with everybody to get back in front. I relished it. It was like, great, I can relax, I can have fun and whatever. And then,
losing the rear was really strange, because I knew I'd got a wee wobble. It put me into you, but as soon as Madley got in front of me, even at that slow speed, I just lost rear grip. I feel unlucky, Rigel. It was a real shame he didn't get to see the last race through.
Yeah, well, I think it's another testament of how good a league it's been. Is I think once you work the points out, it'll be a matter of a couple.
Yeah, I'm doing them now. Somebody else take over.
Yeah. While you're doing that, Rodders, and we'll give you stage to give us a heads up on the scores and the doors before we close the stream. But Rodders, well done, first place. Let's move to second place. Second place, Madley. Wonderful few scraps and battles with Dave Crew there. Happy with second?
Over the moon, matey, over the moon. Yeah, that was an intense race.
What the fuck is that picture all about, son?
Shut it, you mug. Yeah. What can I say? That was probably my best race so far. Although I've thoroughly enjoyed the whole league. But yeah, that was intense, and I'm absolutely soaking wet. I won't lie to you. Well, you've got me. I'd like to congratulate Rigel, I think, got the win. And well done to Rodders and Seahacks in third, I think.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, been brilliant, lads.
Yeah, wonderful. And it was, like I said, genuinely, it was really, it was great to watch everybody out there. But you had a couple of really good battles with Dave Crew. And that was nice to see. At one point, there was a 3-way sandwich with you, Dave Crew, and FX. And I think a couple of times, all it takes is just to get a wheel off in the wrong place, and you can lose a couple of places. And I think that happened to you a couple of times. I think.
Yeah, it's so easy to do around there, and you lose so much time just going offline. Really, you can lose seconds a lap. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, well done. Before we move on to third, Draco, have you got anything for Rodders or Madley before we move?
No, I mean, it's been a hell of a race, you guys. You guys really kind of epitomized, that field. It was definitely varied, and you stuck with it. And you guys, as always, like I say every week, you guys make it look easy. I can't stress this enough. I'm looking forward to the GT2 race coming up to kind of show you guys what I can do. But man, you guys just make that look easy every day.
Listen, Draco, take a top tip from me. I said that. I'll never say it again. Moving on. Don't say it. Moving on. Third place, Dave. Very well done, Dave. 2 things. One, you must have been over the moon for qualifying first. And secondly, there were a couple of squeaky bum moments there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, quali, I don't know where that came from. It was just, I actually fluffed the last chicane and came out of it 4/10 up. So I was sort of close. And then when I came out of it, I was like, shit, I'm 4/10 up. Where'd that come from? And that was it. So it was a pretty good lap. So, but yeah, that just gave me that bit extra, you know, that I was looking for. So
You peaked, mate. You peaked. Just the
yeah,
right moment.
yeah. I was obviously deliberately trying to brake as late as I dare, and I just locked it up, chucked it in, and it went. And I was like, oh. So yeah, chuffed to bits with that. But the race was brilliant, and another cracker with Justin as well, and he got me again. But it so enjoyable. That was really enjoyable. It was nice to lead a few laps as well at the start and sort of get me flow. But my third stint, I went back to softs like I started with, and they just overheated about 6 laps from the end. They were totally different to when I ran them at the start, and must have been nearly a second a lap slower.
Wow.
And about 5 laps from the end, they just wouldn't cool down on the straights, and I nearly lost it a few times. And in the end, I just backed off and watched the gap to false. I knew I weren't going to catch Justin, even if he made a mistake. It would have had to have been a nasty one, you know, so which I wouldn't have wished on him. So I sort of then the last 4 or 5 laps, I was like, no, third will do. That's my first podium in this league. So with the pole, that was good enough, you know.
Well, very well done to you, Dave. Third place and first on qualifying. That's an additional couple of points, I think. And at the end of the day, you've had a great league, as everyone has, and we've seen you really do very well. And that final race, third place, is testament to your ability out there. So certainly someone I look up to, just like most of you out there. So very well done to you, third place.
Thank
cool.
You.
Let's move on. Let's move on to our winner of the event. No, not winner. It's not winner, is it? It's not the winner. What we're going to talk to, who we're going to talk to now, is our racer of the event. Thank you. Sorry, bit of a mind meld then. Racer of the event, which goes to FX. FX,
Hooray.
You're a racer of the event. You're a racer of the event because you pushed so hard out there, and you had that 3-way with Madley and with Dave Crew. That looked quite interesting. How did that go?
Yeah, it was great to start with. I had some technical
hang on.
problems.
Have I lost? Am I?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hear you.
Yeah, I had a few great battles in that race.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh,
but I had some
we've got a. No wonder I can't hear anything. I'll have to disconnect and come back. Give me 10 seconds.
I'll wait for him to sort himself out.
It's just 10 seconds, you know.
I'm going to try to get a message we can hear him.
Get some lift music.
I'm back. Sorry.
Can you hear us now, Tiger?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I knew something was up just before we went to FX, but I wasn't quite sure what was going on. Unless, of course, you just muted me. Did you mute me?
No, we could hear you.
I do apologise. FX, you might have already said it, but you are a racer of the event. You had a great race.
I did, yeah. I had some technical issues. I had to reinstall my game and system, and I forgot to map the pit select menu, so I couldn't run my last stint on softs. And then nearly 40 litres fuel at the end. So I kind of lost a bit of time fumbling with all the menus, changing cameras, all that sort of stuff, trying to find a button what would select, my strategy. And then I thought, sod it, just pit early, put my mediums back on and just go for it.
Awesome. Well, you had a great race. It was really great to see you out there. And I don't want to keep going on the same thing, but to give you the final word before we move on to some prizes, or just give stage to Rodders to talk about the final positions. We have said throughout the stream tonight that what is very clear is that a league as long as this one, with the time that you need to be able to give onto the track, etc., really has given the opportunity for some that were, quite happy in the sort of, middle of the bottom third of the group, very clearly have now up their game significantly and now much faster. And we put you certainly in that category. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that's about right?
Well, I've been trying to up my game, trying to sort of push a bit harder, not be such a pushover and move out of everyone's way. And yeah, don't know. The last 2 weeks, it seems to be working.
Yeah, your teammate helped.
Yeah, very much.
Well, FX, well done. You are a racer of the event, and again, you get some points for that. Now, okay, conscious that it's been a long night for you, conscious it's late now, conscious of all sorts of things, but we got some prizes to give out, and I don't know whether to go straight into that or whether to give way to Rollers to talk about the final standings. You want a bit more time?
I'm ready to go.
Right.
Ready to go.
Well, do you want to give the final standings, and then we'll give some black tie awards to a few people for their involvement in the league?
Yeah, go for it. I'll go from the 10th place. I can't read everyone out. So we've got 10th place. We've got Thomas Pinto. I think you showed a lot. You were quick, Thomas. I think you just missed a few too many races, but good racing from you. It was 228 points for Thomas. We've got Flack in 9th and 242. Dave Crew in 8th with 253. H-Tune in 7th with 256. Jammer, who unfortunately we lost the last part of the week, with 261 in 6th. And in 5th place is FX with 268. So well done, FX. You managed to jump up to 5th. Madly.
Well done.
Yeah, you did. Madly secured 4th with 327. And then in 3rd place in the podium with 366 was Seahacks. Just that one race you had at the end, dude, that kind of scuttled it for you. And the top 2 places in 402 is me, and in 404 is our winner of the championship, Rigel.
Well done, Rigel.
Well done, buddy.
Thanks.
Well done, guys.
Where's my champagne?
And Rodders, I've just got to remind you of something. The fastest lap. That fastest lap. Do you remember? That made the difference. It would be a tie otherwise.
Yeah, well, there's just so many little moments you could go. If that hadn't. Not done yet. We've got the team competition, which actually turned out to be quite close in the end. So, I'll just go from first. So, first place in the teams was Buckfast Racing, which is myself and Jammer, 663 points. Only 6 points behind in the end is Game of Smug. That's Rigel and Dave, and 657.
How ironic that I let the side down tonight.
Actually, I would have definitely taken it otherwise. I mean, the teams are normally just a bit of fun, but it shows you in the end they've been quite close. And in 3rd place was Punterifics, which was Seahacks and H-Tune, with 622. And then quickly, 9 Bean Heroes, Beans and Flack, 467. Pimax Performance, that's an oxymoron. FX and Charger with 448. Dogs of War, Pinners and Madly, 427. The Underdogs, Luca and Cause with 408. Well done, guys. Cookie Monsters Motorsport, Benjamin Rusinga and Thomas Pinto, 381. And, oh God, Chris de Grenule Racing is Audi and Al with 366.
Somebody clip that.
That's my French. And then Resident Evil, who was in his own in the team, who unfortunately had to drop out. And then we've got Z&R Motorsports, which was Night Flight, and our resident mega tuning tool dude Xerax, who unfortunately had to drop out. And that's the teams.
Well done, everybody, and well done to Rigel, Rodders, and Seahacks, the top 3 there, and to everyone who's committed to the league. Whether you managed to do half of it or whether you were one of the endurance experts that lasted all 12. I think I took a couple of weeks off, but it's been fantastic to watch. Well done to everybody, and look forward to the next league, Rodders.
Yeah, I'll end it on this league with just saying a big thanks to everyone that raced it. You know, it was a slog. It felt like a real F1 league. There was drama, there was tears. You know, it was all sorts going on. So I think it had the drama of an F1 league, You know, I'm definitely not going to say wouldn't win again, but you know, at some point in the future, I think we'll learn a lot from this one to try and get just a bigger grid the whole way through. But that's just a consequence of it being tough. Pretty much every league you see anywhere has that kind of attrition. But yeah, the GT2's coming. I would say it's arguably one of the best classes in the game. It seems to be really getting people's blood going. We've got 26 or 27 signed up already, and yeah, really looking forward to that. I think everyone is. It's going to be a nice change of pace and a bit less pressure, but still no less competitive.
Wonderful. Well, thanks very much for that. Now let's close down the stream. But before we do, we got some awards to give out. Yes, some prizes from this Formula One league. The first, second, and third, well, they've been called out, etc. And there's some beer behind the bar for them, so they can go and ring the bell. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a few awards here, so let's go for our first award. The first award is known as the Covet Thy Car Award, which is the least collisions per hour. The least collisions per hour.
Plastic surgeons are sleazeballs, neurosurgeons have massive egos, and orthopedic surgeons are dumb bros.
It goes to C-Hacks. C-Hacks, well done. Woo-hoo-hoo. So C-Hacks. C-Hacks, you get that award, and I think Rod afterwards. I think there's 2 lots of 2,500 VRP and 2.
Mercedes Bluetooth speakers. So
yeah.
The first 4 prizes they get to choose. You can choose VRP or the speaker. So Sachs, you can choose one or the other.
Choose now?
Not necessarily, but we'll need to remember the order.
It's not a mortgage, Sachs. Just what do you want?
There's only two of each, so yeah.
I'll take the speaker for the missus. Thank you.
Noted.
Awesome, well done. Next award then. Next up, as everyone claps and he walks off. Next one up is for the most pole positions. Most pole positions and wins of races is.
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday.
Is Rigel. Well done, Rigel.
Mad one. I didn't realise that.
Believe it or not, there was only twice you did it, Rigel, and that was the most, getting pole and winning the race. It just shows you. Only twice it happened. Once for C-Hacks, and that was the only people that managed to get pole and win the race.
That shows how exciting the races have been, doesn't it?
Great. Well done, Rigel and C-Hacks. And on to the next one. We've got another prize here.
You got to let him pick his prize first.
Oh, what did you pick?
Oh, crikey. What's he want?
I'll have a speaker if that's all right.
Cool. That means there's just VRP left for the next 2.
VRP for everyone who's bought premium packs and got nothing that they can buy. Give it to someone who can't then. Yeah, so next one, third. I've started, so I'll bloody well finish award. And this one goes to...
Do the Welsh have sex with their sheep?
I think the answer is yes. Poor fucking sheep.
It's fucking excited in here. Stop it.
Well done, Madly. You get the I've started, so I'll finish award. So VRP, I believe.
It has to be VRP, and given that Madly donated the speakers,
yeah, that works out well. Thank you, guys.
Well done, mate. Next award then, penultimate is where the fuck did everyone go award? And this is for the largest gap at the end of a race. So at the end of the race, the largest gap, how many laps behind? This was 6 laps, but you know what? He was still going. Pass me Les Oignons. It's to Al Gardner. Well done, Al. But he's not here, so who's taking it on his behalf? Elevator. It's a great track, that, if anyone wants it. So who wants who's going to take you're going to sort it out, Rob?
I'll take it and sort it out.
Al's
now
he is in here.
Oh, Al, you're here.
Al, there you are.
He's a man of few words.
Well, Al wins that.
Yep. Well done, Al, for I think that's one of the awards. Well, it was slightly jokey. I think it shows real essentially grit and determination that you still finished, even though you were having a really bad time of it. 6 laps down, you seen it through. So well done.
Yeah, and that's very important. He finished, and there are a couple of occasions actually where Al Gartner was up for racer of the event. On one occasion, he was the racer of the event, and then sadly, I think either retired or had an off and a crash, and we moved on to someone else. But Al, you are someone that we've watched again for the 12 weeks. We haven't spoken, but we've mentioned it many times on the stream, and you have improved immeasurably, and we've seen that tonight, especially with where you qualified. So very well done to you.
And I'll just add, Al is our oldest member. Actually, I'm not. There's so many numbers in his age, I can't remember how big they are, but I think he's almost 70. He's almost 70. And he's doing shit like this, so hats off.
Yeah, fair play.
And he's a neurosurgeon.
Yeah,
Respect.
exactly. Last one then. Last award before we close off is I Hate My Car award. Anyone know who this is going to go to? Have a guess.
Roger.
Most collisions per hour.
Most collisions per hour. I hate my car. It is.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
I think it must be Pinpoint.
That's a bit, isn't it?
Oh, man.
I think it must be Pinpoint. There's no question about that. So Pinners, well done, old boy. You get the I Hate My Car award, the most collisions per hour. So congratulations to you. There you go.
So just quick, that wins him a Mercedes branded thermos again, courtesy of Madley. So thanks for the prizes, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you to Madley for donating them, and of course to the RWB honchos for donating the VRP. And what a great league that's been. That's been 12 races, lots of dedication and commitment. What have the guys got out of it, apart from a lot of fun and racing with each other? Well, they've got better. There's no question about that. You've seen FX qualifying at first and then pipped at the post by Dave Crew. You've seen Al Gartner. I think he qualified 8th tonight, almost racer of the event. We've had racer of the events. We've had ups and downs. We've had people go off. We've had lots of drama. Rigel won, fantastic. Rodders second, Seahacks third. And of course, we had the rundown earlier on of the teams. Marvellous, lots of fun. Look out for the next one, which I believe starts on the 23rd of November with the Porsche GT League, which is on the race 3, which starts tomorrow. So, Draco, I've absolutely loved chatting to you and stream with you. It's been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
This has been definitely a whirlwind. And, if you're still looking for a teammate for the GT2, we could do our own team.
Fucking, we'd be right. Oh, God. I'm just going to comment. I'm not going to do it. I'm too fucking scared having any of that lot behind me.
You are doing it.
Anyway, it's my stream. We're closing down now. Thanks very much. Remember, this is sponsored by Racing Sim Tools. We've mentioned about it in the stream. Always do. $15. It's nothing. Go and buy it. It's worth every bloody penny. And there's always someone from RWB who will help you out and give you a hand with the old tune and stuff. You know where to find us? rwbracing.club.
Just quickly, sorry to interject, but I'd like everyone just to give a big hip hip
coffee. I just want a coffee.
Big hip, shush, commentator. Hip hip hooray for the commentators. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip.
Hooray. Hooray. Oh, you're all too kind.
Good job, guys.
You're all too kind. You really are.
How very
Cheers,
British.
Guys.
Very, very British. I believe, Draco, I think you've got a song for us to play out too. But before we do, remember, don't race alone. Race RWB. Till next time. Take care now.
I'm going to start singing.
White noise.
Oh, classic.
There you go. Shelter on Trolls.
This is an exclusive Monk Beats rhythm.
Welsh have sex with their sheep.
Did you pick the wrong one? I'm just sitting there thinking, where's the lyrics?
Take care, everyone. FX, close it down.